Hello, my name is Francis Fox. I'm a trained government remote viewer, also trained in interspecies communication, which is beyond just talking to your pet. In other words, I'm beyond a pet psychic. I can also talk to walls, by the way. Everything has consciousness. Whoa. What is that? You know what? I left another window open. I'm not sure which one. Okay, so I'm trained in all the psychic skills, and I come here several times a week and try to give as much information as I can about what's going on in the other dimensions that can help explain what's going on in the physical dimension. It's very frustrating for people like me and for children because they can see how we deal with things without having enough information. So that's what I'm here for. That's my mission. Um, Will I get compensated or not, which I'm not getting compensated. And that's just fine because you see, when you're aligned with your mission, somehow the world comes through for you. It's when you're just earning a living or doing something that you don't really love, I think that's when your life gets a little bit trashed, especially from here forward. But enough of that. Today is the 13th of January, 2025, and it is a full moon. Okay, in Cancer. Okay, that's my sign. Cancers are the most emotional of all of the 12 astrological signs. Okay, the United States in astrology is a Cancer. This full moon has to do with complete readjustments, having to do with emotions, having to do with relationships, having to do with getting real. And it is very strong and is pushing everybody into dealing with their reality, their emotional reality, which is basically everything. So you're a robot, okay, you get programmed, and then you're a human, and the difference between you and the robot are emotions. So the United States has a lot going on, and thank God we're going into a new cycle with a new president who I would I believe is certainly the one that's the most equipped to deal with a presidency in a change of cycle in the history of planet Earth, in the apocalypse, and with too many people not ready, and the galactics dancing all around us because we don't have enough information. But enough about that. What is it that we need to know in terms of the United States? Because it is a Cancer nation. The home is very important. For Cancer, the home is everything: family, the home, security, safety. When we had the housing crisis, I don't know, was it 20 years ago, with all those mortgages that were really fake, that anybody could get a house of any price because they were just trying to get mortgages signed up for, and didn't matter what happened to the person to the house. And there was a significant percentage of purchases that went into foreclosures or what they call short sales. All of those homes ended up being haunted homes. Why? Because the people that lived in those homes, until they left, there was an excess of negative emotions that got recycled. And because people do not purify the other dimensions, what happens is within the home, your aura emits these negative emotions, which we all have, no issue with that. But you're supposed to purify them. You're not supposed to be recycling them. You're not supposed to be living in a soup of those emotions. So, with all of these people that went into foreclosure, that went into short sales, their homes, for the months or the years that it took for the legal process to go through, basically they were reducing the frequency of the home. And then they would lose it. It was already haunted, and somebody would come in. So, I always recommend it to everybody that um, they not purchase a home that was in foreclosure or that was in a short sale, and that if they did, they were going to have to work very hard to get that energy out of there, because you inherit the energies of your home. Whatever happened to the people previously has a resonance. And if you look at what happened to them previously, you're going to be looking at what your destiny is going to start looking like, because your environment is where your mind strings, 72,000 of them, feeds off of. And you're mainly at home. All the hours that you're sleeping, when you come home in the afternoon or in the evening and you have dinner and you watch TV and you go to bed, and the next morning, whatever, you leave the home mainly to go to work. So you're recycling all these homes, a significant percentage. People were recycling negativity and the homes ended up haunted. I wrote an article on that came out in, I think, House and Gardens. It was years ago. So that's an issue. We're a cancer nation. We ended up having the rug pulled out from under us as a nation because of the mortgages that had to do with greed. The greed of the people that were selling the mortgages and the banks and mortgage companies, whatever. So here we go. We're in a place where a significant percentage of the population, too large a percentage of the population, are feeling insecure because of the deportations. I am in total agreement that this out of control immigration of the southern border or any border needs to stop. It's disorder, and you don't create greatness when your baseline there's that level of disorder. The problem is that the remedy is creating a lot of fear. And cancers, myself included, we are people with a lot of fears. And in my case, I already invented a ton of different techniques to be able to purify those fears so that I can continue to function. Most people don't have that. And I remember sharing the story how over 30 years ago, somebody called me. There were issues in the household. I'm not exactly sure what the issue was in the household, but when I checked, it was panic attacks that the nanny, who was an illegal alien, was having that was landing on everybody in the family. I think including the child, but it was everybody in the family. It was a time in which the people that I knew that were illegal or that were housekeepers or knew people that were illegal or were recently came, whatever they would call la migra, which would be whatever, the people that pick up illegal aliens. And it was a panic attack that was hitting the whole country. This was 20 some, 30 some years ago. And that was minor compared to what we have going on today. I'm not suggesting that we not deport people, and I'm not suggesting that we need a change of policies at all. What I'm suggesting is, can we please, for the first time, take care of the emotional component of human life, being it that the emotional component is much more important than the physical component. Emotions are composed of astral particles. In Hinduism, it is known that those particles are a force. And maybe that's what they're going to find in science is going to be called, or they call dark matter. I don't know. It doesn't, I don't really, it's okay, whatever those scientists are doing. They take too long. And then they want exclusivity, and then they don't want anybody to know more. So you have to believe this belief system because they got it wrapped up real nice and it's a package. But meanwhile, life continues on. So it doesn't really matter what they say. Astral particles are a force. When in the movie Star Wars, they say, may the force be with you, they are talking about your astral emotional body with the astral particles that are a force. Your astral emotional body is a force. We have to take care of it, and we have it. So I'm going to strongly suggest to the president that he figure out how to do it. I'm sure that he can. He's got the power in his hands. And let's deal with the negative reaction to a legitimate policy. Let's not let waves of fear that are already in the United States and on the planet, let's not let that take us down because we didn't attend to the spiritual aspect of life, because everything that is not physical, according to the Catholic Church, is spiritual. And it's true. It has to do with your spirit in the other dimensions. So it's kind of accurate. Let's get that taken care of. Let's address it. And please don't go to psychologists. They don't even know the definition of the word emotion, which means to move out, which means you're not supposed to recycle it You should be able to scream. You should be able to rant and rave. You should be emotional. That's one of the things I like about Trump. He does not, he didn't take courses in diplomacy, and he's very real. That's really important. Even if you have to go back later and say, listen, you know what? That thing I was yelling about, I was wrong. Change my mind. It's okay. Let's deal with it. And we can deal with it because we have mass communication. We have the internet. We have X. We can get it taken care of with something as simple as panic attack mantras. You know what? Panic attacks. Guys, wake up. Panic attacks. Somebody has a panic attack. Oh my God, you go to the doctor. I think I'm having a heart attack. I think I'm going to die. Oh, you're having a panic attack. Why hasn't anybody asked the doctor, what's attacking me? I'm having a panic attack. Yes, I'm in a panic. But you're not saying you're just in a panic. You're saying the doctor's saying to you, or for your kid or whatever, you're having a panic attack. The panic is attacking me? I'm attacking the panic? No, it's a spirit that's attacking you, trying to break you down. Nobody asks why the word attack. And yet instinctively, they put the right words together. But they cannot give you a good remedy because they don't know why they put in the word attack, even though it's accurate. So, mantra for panic attack, even though I'm afraid, I love and accept myself. And even if it's really bad, then you go, even though I'm afraid and want to die, I love and accept myself. And you just keep repeating it silently in your head. We're going to do that as the mantra today. So, we are a Cancer nation. That means that we need to be secure in our homes. Well, what percentage of the population in the United States are either immigrants related to illegal immigrants or related to immigrants that were recently come over? That portion of the population is going to be living in terror. Maybe they're legal, but their sister-in-law isn't. Or maybe they're legal and half their employees are illegal. That's a lot of fear. Multiply 1,000 times what I dealt with 30 some years ago. So we need to get that taken care of because we are a Cancer nation. We need to make sure that there are mortgages that are affordable and that people can be assisted in terms of having a secure place to live. And I think that part of the situation, I think, is not in a bad place, not like where we were with all of those foreclosures. But the issue of fear has to be addressed. In the Bible, fear is discussed over, I don't know if it's 250 times or 350 times. Okay? Because it debilitates. And it is the tool of the devil to get into your mind, and your mind is what creates reality. It is said that there really is only one emotion, and that's fear. And your reaction to fear, you either get angry and you go after people, or you just get angry. You take that emotion, which means to move out, and you move it out against objects. You hit the wall, you hit somebody, you scream, you become irritable, or you swallow it, which is what the psychologists prefer, because you cannot be so, my goodness, that's not graceful. That's not a graceful way of dealing with your issue. When you swallow it, you go into depression. So I think that they're right when they say there's only one emotion, it's fear, and there's two different ways of reacting. Externally, you get angry, you swallow it. Internally, you get depressed. We have to deal with the fear. And we just have to deal with the fear. And there's a lot, and fear, emotions transfer. So also remembering, and I believe I also said it here, when we were in that time of invading Iraq and all the rest of that, somebody had a business and they were asking me what was it that was going on, that everything seemed to be slow and everybody around them, everything seemed to be slow. And I did a sketch. And at that time, I didn't know as much as I know today. And there was a miasm, which means a cloud of negative emotions and spirits and thoughts and images that was on top of the United States. directed by the attention the people in Iraq had towards the United States because of that pending invasion. So they weren't wishing us ill in Iraq, but it was affecting business because of this miasm. They know about miasms in homeopathy. It's not something I've invented. You can look it up, even though the definition is not real clear. A miasm is like a congestion. It ends up kind of looking like a cloud of negative emotions, spirits, negative images, sometimes conversations, thoughts. Um, I don't. There's something else that I'm not even remembering. So we need to deal with all of this, and we can deal with it. We have the answers. We have the solutions. They're not within traditional professions that we have. It falls under magic, but not black magic. It's basically like white magic. And it all has to do with healing, and it has to do with changing reality on the physical dimension by working in the other dimensions. And we need to do this now. Why do we need to do it now? Because the word apocalypse means to reveal and to unveil. There were a lot of veils and walls between dimensions. And we already talked about how that doorway to the underworld was broken on planet Earth with the BP oil accident in the Gulf of Mexico. Interesting that we want to make it the Gulf of America, which, by the way, most Hispanics would think it's because the United States wants to claim it. Because for most Hispanics, this is America, the United States. And I don't know what reasoning the president has, but hopefully he's not claiming it for the United States, because that's a problem. Energetically, it's a problem. So we need to, okay, back to the apocalypse. The apocalypse in the dictionary means to unveil and to reveal. The problem with the apocalypse, you'll notice that the images of the apocalypse do not include airplanes. They don't include machine guns. They don't include soldiers invading. They don't. And the images of the apocalypse have been around for hundreds of years, and not just from the Catholic Church. So if you look at the images of the apocalypse and the descriptions of the apocalypse, you're not seeing modern technology. And it's not because everything already got destroyed. It's because the apocalypse, for the people that don't know the definition of the word apocalypse, the apocalypse happens in terms of the relationship between our life on the physical dimension and the underworld, which is spiritual, which is where the bad spirits are, which is where those civilizations that modern people don't believe exist, but they do underneath the ground. Catholic churches, hell is down there, and it is. And so what's the problem? So you got something down there. Why is that a problem? Because there are spirits, and the ones that are down there are not great. So we need to attend to all of these things. And I took the opportunity because today is a full moon in Cancer. Emotions, 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 security, home, fear. Cancers need to learn to deal with their fears and their depressions, and they need for their home situation to be secure. They cannot feel that la mira, immigration, is going to be knocking at the door. You cannot have a significant portion of the population with that fear. You're going to have it because of what's going to be happening, which appears to have been the only way to deal with the flooding of immigrants. Okay. And we all have to deal with fears. Why don't we go ahead and make sure that we offer up, because the techniques are totally cost free because they're in the other dimensions. It's not like you have to pay a ton of money. What you have to do is pay attention to something which will be what takes us all down. And this is not a religious chat right now. This is the reality. So look at the images of the apocalypse. What do you see? First place, dark, red, people crying, screaming in total fear. The devil is there. Doesn't look like it's happening on top of the crust of the earth. Kind of looks like it's happening in the infraworld, underworld. The Mexicans know a lot about that, but so do a lot of other people. So it doesn't matter how many drones you have, and it doesn't matter how many airplanes you have, and how many nuclear bombs you have. And I'm not just talking about the United States. It doesn't matter how many you have. That is not where the apocalypse is going to be happening, or what's important in the apocalypse. What's important in the apocalypse is to take care of those images of the apocalypse that have been given to us several hundred years ago. And not just say, oh yeah, I see it. You see it? Okay, now what are you going to do about it? And by the way, goodness does not take care of this. And you know what's an example of that? All those good people on the left that wanted to give everything to everybody, that didn't take care of it. Discipline doesn't take care of it either. There is a lot of knowledge out there about the underworld, about the negative spirits, about invasion of spirits, about the fact that the worst spirits are galactics that come from off planet. There's a lot of information there. We need to integrate it into modern society. We are spiritually unsophisticated. When I came up with that phrase 20 years ago, and I asked, do you like this? Because I thought it was kind of great. And everybody said they did not like that. They did not like that phrase of being spiritually sophisticated. What the heck is that? Being spiritually sophisticated is understanding that we're multidimensional beings and we live in several dimensions at one time, that reality is created in the other dimensions, and what's on the physical dimension is a manifestation of something that was already created in the other dimensions. As an example, when you have a disease. Years ago, I don't do it anymore, several times I would see somebody like a friend or somebody that I knew, and I would say, you're going to have cancer in 2 years. I didn't take any courses in diplomacy. I got beaten up so badly so many times that I learned the hard way. And I would say, you're going to have cancer in 2 years. And people would look at me, well, how do you know? I don't have cancer. I said, no, I didn't say you have cancer. I said, you're going to have cancer in your physical body in 2 years if you don't take care of what I see is going on inside of you. And I got verification a couple of times, particularly in a person that I told her exactly the date and year in which she would get a diagnosis of cancer. I said, you're going to have cancer and it's going to be diagnosed on this day. Da, 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 da. I remember it was a June. And she just looked at me and she believed in me a lot, whatever. And she wrote it down, whatever. And she did contact me 2 years later. And she said, I'm having some issues. And they did some tests. And guess what the date is when I'm supposed to go back and they're going to give me the diagnosis. And it was exactly the date I had told her 2 years before. So here's the issue. We're talking cancer there, but we're not really talking cancer. We're talking becoming spiritually sophisticated and understanding that, as my husband used to say about me, because he didn't believe in psychics, he used to say, well, I don't know about the psychic thing, but she knows what's coming down the pike before it's coming down the pike. He was Capricorn, therefore he was very physical dimension. But I can see, but it's not just me. This is not about me. This is about all of us. And this is about a wonderful opportunity we have now, in my opinion, with Trump. So let's widen the lens, but not widen the lens in terms of claiming more territory or trying to make us safe on the physical dimension, because what's going to take us down is not on the physical dimension. We have misidentified the enemy. And the people that did identify the enemy correctly, which is supposedly our religions, have been really, really inefficient. They haven't understood how to be able to deliver the information, I think because they're not really skilled in the other dimensions. They know about the devil. It's so funny about the thing with the Catholic Church. They have a definition now. They have a listing of all the different types of spirits, which include the incubus and succubus that come in through the left ear, and go down to your sexual chakra, and they're the ones that create all the sexual issues and the addiction to porn, they come from Orion. Okay, well, I don't know if the Catholic Church knows that. Maybe the Vatican does. But they are not really good about telling you what to do about that. They're not really good about telling you, you know what, you have a portal open. That's why it's coming in. And yet, when the whole sexual abuse stuff started, they said it was the devil. The devil was involved. Okay. By the way, when everybody behaves poorly, there's always a spirit involved. This is not new. Anyway, Scientology has a lot of information. I'm not sure that they have the answers that we need, and they certainly are not very democratic because you have to pay, I understand, tens of thousands of dollars for stuff that I say in 2 seconds flat, such as those words in your head and those thoughts in your head that you don't really like. They're not yours. They come from the outside. It's a spirit next to your head, whispering, but on repeat, 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 because they don't just say it once. And they can put images in front of your eyes in the other dimensions. And all of a sudden you remembered something like that. I'm not an alcoholic. I've never, I mean, more than one glass of wine is a lot for me. And I remember one night when I was laying in bed watching TV, and all of a sudden I had an addiction to sugar. And I kept thinking about, I wanted to eat something. I wanted something sweet. I wanted something sweet. I wanted something sweet. I was wanting something. Then all of a sudden I had this image of something sweet that was in the refrigerator. And I wasn't even thinking. I just turned to my right and I went, get the hell out of here. I'm not going to eat anything. There was a spirit there. And I could feel it. And it kept, I want something sweet. I want something sweet. I want something sweet. And then I wasn't responding. So they put an image of something inside my refrigerator. That is the way it is with everybody. That's what addictions are like. First place, there's a portal on the left side of the head. And so you're totally vulnerable. By the way, once this portal closes, and it's really easy to close for me, all of a sudden it's like the person is like, I don't want to drink. Because you don't want to drink. You don't want to eat that. You don't want to beat up on people. You don't want to do that stuff. It's an outside force, and those people that murder and do stuff, I didn't do it. The devil made me do it, or the devil did it. And they're right, and we're not paying enough attention. That's it. Let's go ahead and do the mantra for fear. First, I would like for you to self-assess how you feel right now from 1 to 10. 1 is you want to slit your wrist, you feel terrible. 10 is you feel great. I'm going to show you the golden white dress for you to see the quality of your frequency. And then we're going to go, and now we're going to do the mantra, which is the purification mantra, which is, and it's a short mantra, so I probably will not make a spelling error. This is the mantra, but let me check my notes in case there's something else. Oh, yes, there is something else. I discovered something. Years ago, I wanted to find out in a space where there was electricity and then microwave was added, which is Wi-Fi, who was going to win, the electricity or the Wi-Fi? The microwave. And nobody could answer that question. I looked it up on the internet. I mean, maybe it's there. I could not find an answer on the internet. And then I started to ask, what is electricity? And nobody knows what electricity is, except for carpenters, third world country carpenters, not sophisticated carpenters. I asked and I asked and I asked, and the carpenter said to me, that's easy. You have one of the wires that's male and the other wire is female, and you put them both together and you get electricity. I almost collapsed. Half of our body is female, half is male. Half of our brain is female, half is male. Everything in us is divided in two, and half is male and half is female. Yoga means union, and it's the union of the male and female. Okay, guess where male and female, in terms of the meridians, guess where they are supposed to meet, but they don't? Here. The channel that's called the conception channel, which would be female, ends here. It comes up the front of your body and it ends here. And the male channel that comes up the back of your body and goes down ends at the top lip. They're not together. You don't have the male and female together. And yet we know from electricity, put the male and female wire together and you get electricity. If you can get these two channels to become one, you have electricity, you have light, you're full of light. And actually, in metaphysics, when you get male and female together, you are full of light. That's what yoga is about. It means union, union of male and female. Oh my God. So we are doing chats to be able, I'm going to finish this story. We're doing chats, and guess how we're getting these two to come together. By the way, if you have your tongue at the top, the roof of your mouth, you're putting the two channels together. Now, somebody said the other day, somebody who is an acupuncturist said you also have to hold the sphincter of your anus, which is where those two channels start. You compress them, and then you put your tongue, not somebody else's, at the roof of your mouth, and you're able to get the conception channel and the governor channel together. I have spent my entire life with my tongue at the roof of my mouth, and I understand a lot of people that are into metaphysics, but I mean, like, really, not just the concept, have trained themselves to do that and have their tongue at the roof of their mouth. But here's the trick. How do we get that to happen? And what I figured out, and we've been doing it in two chats, and we're doing it again tonight. The reason female and male are not together is because there's an emotional block. And that emotional block often has to, or most times, or all the times, has to do with anger and hatred of mother and father, male and female. So you're born, you have all these issues. Your mother dies when you're 2, and you're in a rage. You're angry because she abandoned you. Yeah, but she died. You're 2 years old. She's not there. Or you're 12 and she has to leave because her mother's sick. She's got to go take care of her mother. She's not taking care of you. And you know that she has to leave because you know intellectually, but emotionally, you are angry. So my savvy instincts, I understood that if we can take care of these original angers at male, female, mother, father, which are the original, we're going to be able to get these two to unite. Because I can't run around doing that to my sphincter all day long. I can't put my tongue at the roof of my mouth because I've been doing it for decades. I don't know when that started. And it has been, those two chats have been the most powerful that we have done in terms of transformation. And it's been several hundred people both times. And we're going to do it again tonight. And the mantra is, you know what? We're going to do that now. Because this is a day of full moon, lots of emotions. We're not going to do the mantra we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and do the mantra that we've been doing to unite male and female, to create electricity within us, to do the yoga union. And electricity is light. And according to metaphysics, light is information. And the more information you have, according to the Buddha, the less ignorance, the less anguish, human anguish. So let's go ahead and do this. Yeah? Are you guys ready? When we're going to do this kind of thing, It's not a question of not having gone and taken the classes in diplomacy. It's a question about being real. Now, you can say, I don't hate my mother, my father. Why don't you do the mantra and let's see what comes up? You may hate the fact that your brother was her favorite. You may hate the fact that when she was pregnant with you, she wasn't really sure she wanted to have a baby or that she was ready. You knew that when you were in utero. Oh, yeah, but no, don't, oh, yeah, me. Our emotional body, our astral body is 2 years old in its reactions. Okay, so the mantra is, even though I hate my mother and father and my father, I love and accept myself. Just do it. Assess yourself right now. Assess yourself 1 to 10. 1, you want to die, you want to slit your wrist. 10, you feel like $1 million. Okay? And let's go ahead and show you the white and gold dress and see what it looks like. Okay? And let's go ahead and get the mantra. Okay, here we go. And we're going to do the mantra music for your sexual chakra because this has to do with sexuality, male, female. This is it. We are going to do 10 minutes. Okay. How do you feel? Oh dear. How do you feel? Did you get a lot of sensations? Did you get a lot of memories? Did you cry? God, every time I do that mantra, I remember the house I lived in Germany, which was the 4 years of that very intensive mind control training, Rhine Air Force Base. We were a large family, so we lived in a town right outside of it. That's what a horror story. But this mantra takes me there, and I've already done 2.5 hours of it, intense. But according to everything having to do with the metaphysics, when male and female come together, in other words, there's not those resentments, not those issues, when they actually come together, when you have the yoga union, you get light. And the images of the apocalypse, dark. Okay, here we go. Anyway, I would like for you all to please, if you don't mind, I'd like you to, and here I'll put it up on screen. Michael Jackson put out a song that won him an award in Europe decades ago. The United States, it didn't make a wave, it didn't make a nothing. It is incredible, and I think it's very appropriate now for what's going on in California and the other stuff that's going to go on unless we get this figured out. Okay? We can do this. We cannot do it if we continue to emphasize the physical dimension. We need to take care of what's on the physical dimension. I mean, I agree with that. But we honestly, if we want to prevent preventive medicine, which is not a specialty of modern medicine, is because the people that practice it, Chinese medicine, shamanism, Ayurveda, they know about the energy bodies and they go there and they prevent it. What preventive medicine? What is it preventing? It's preventing issues. You only go to them because you got a problem. It's preventing it from reaching the physical dimension and becoming a diagnosis of a disease or a condition. My story about looking at somebody and going, in 2 years, you're going to have cancer. And I've been right, not just a couple of times. It's because I can see it. Now, you can take care of it from there. You never had a cancer diagnosis. You have the energy of cancer, which is, by the way, the energy of rage plus impotence. Okay, that's it. Thank you for joining me, and we'll be back again with more other dimensional revelations. Bye.